everybody. Girl, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. All right. Too many things on the list that didn't get done. All right, how is everybody? My hair is doing whatever it wants. Yet again. Girl, she's still trying to figure out who she is. This is who we are today. Good morning, Lisa, Siobhan, Kath, how are you? Kezia, Tanya, girl, it's winter. Welcome to November 11th and it's winter. It just happened last night around 5 o'clock. Winter King. Good morning. Ruby's okay, although I don't see her. Booby! Come on, boob. Hey, Tiffany, how is everybody? I did have pecan balls for breakfast. Girl, who don't like a good pecan ball for breakfast? Someone said there were flurries here this morning. Girl, spitting snow in New Hampshire. No, we didn't get any snow. It's looking a lot like Christmas here in the country. Oh my goodness. It's freezing in, is it Massachusetts? MA. Yeah, Massachusetts. All the M abbreviations are just confusing. Come here, baby girl. Just move her pillow so that I can keep an eye on the foot. I gotta call the vet. Come here. Come sit down. Come sit on the pillow. That's not for you, Lulu. That's not you, Lulu. It's below freezing in North Carolina. We had flurries last night. Oh, that's a big deal for you. It's all, and our heat isn't working. Fireplace either. Kezia, doesn't a fireplace always work? That you just put things in there to burn? Unless it's gas and that's not working. All right, so I do have something to say. Like, what? Like real sentences? Yeah. So, I don't know if anyone saw it. Come here, boob. That's not you. Booby, come lay down. So, have you guys heard about the calling up of the churches? Anybody? Let me unpack it. There's a girl. Booby! Booby! She don't listen to nobody. Okay, there's a girl. She's on the TikTok. Young kid. Anybody under 40 is a kid. She's probably under 30. Anyway, she decides that she's gonna randomly call some churches and see if they would help her. And you're like, help her with what? She decides to call a local church, say that she has a 2-month-old baby, and that the baby doesn't have formula and needs formula. And to the point where she has like, let me turn you this way. She has like audio of a baby crying, sorry, in the background. And you're like, why would someone make this video? But she calls it almost like a social experiment. And she said, I want to see that if I call my local church and I tell them that my baby is starving, if they will give me formula. Am I all set? Okay, that doesn't seem too harmful. Okay. And so she calls up a couple churches. Let's say she calls 10. When she first starts, the spirit didn't seem good for the Catholic churches. Although the one I saw, the first one she called, one of the first Catholic churches she called, it was Our Lady of Fatima Church. I don't know where, because they're everywhere, apparently. They were one of the first to give her money or to help her or give her aid. So I think now she's up to like 40 churches. So what's happened is she will take a picture of the church's contact info on like Google and then post it so you can see the name of the church, the address of the church. And then she puts the call on speakerphone and she calls them and says, I'm so-and-so. Yeah, she even calls mosques and temples. She's called Latter-day Saints. She called everybody. She non-denominational. She will go after everybody. And by go after, she's not doing anything mean. She's lying a little. Jesus probably wouldn't appreciate it. But she's basically saying, I am looking for food for my baby, specifically formula. Some of them are like, have you tried to call this person? She's like, well, no, is it a scam or does she really need it? No, she doesn't need it. And she tells them. So once it's clear, people will either say, well, where are you located? What kind of formula are you looking for? Then she'll fess up and she'll say, I don't really need the formula. And then she tells them, my name is so-and-so, and I'm doing a social experiment, and I want to thank you. And for the churches that have said yes, now this has been like random, right? So she's recording it, putting a picture of the church name, address, phone. No, she doesn't have a baby. Oh, she does have kids. She does have kids, but not a 2-month-old. She'll put the contact information of the church, and then she just records it. She's not turning it on and off. She's not being shady about it. She's just telling you this is what, she's not actually getting any of the formula. Once it's clear that they're either going to help her or not help her, she says, okay, I just want you to know that I am doing this as a social experiment. And, I'm seeing, what churches would give me formula. The churches that have given her formula, well, have said they would, offered it. What's the purpose? Good question. The churches that have given or offered to help her, she has definitely leaned into. And she's heard back from churches. Some churches that gave her, one of the churches that offered to help her, she had posted about it. And they were flooded with calls from people who wanted to donate to them because they knew or heard or saw that they were actively trying to reach people in the community. And she said, I'm finding that the churches that had agreed to help me are seeing an influx of people who are now really looking to support these churches. And she said, the churches that didn't help, she says, the way she said it, she said, I'm choosing to focus on the ones that did and not keep highlighting the ones that didn't. And I'm hoping, because apparently a lot of them are getting hate now online, that perhaps they'll reconsider how they do outreach, how they help their communities. What happened? Did the electricity in my whole house just go out? This light is a battery. Do you think the whole house is out, or do you think it's just the kitchen? Hold on. Think about what I just said. It was God. It was the whole house. What was just ringing? Something super weird is happening. It was the whole house that went out. Okay. Nothing's, yeah. It's a ghost. Yeah, yeah. Um, so anyway, so this is what this girl is doing. It's all over. Our family runs an hour. It's tough to know what's real when people ask for help. It's not true. And somebody said that. Somebody said that, when they didn't offer help. And she said, well, I want you to know, I've called a lot of churches. And he said, because he kept asking her questions. And she said, are you going to be able to help me or not? And he was very suspicious. And finally, he said, I want you to know, we want to help everybody, but we get a lot of calls from people who take advantage of it. So Sue, I get that. That was one of the things that someone said. It's just an interesting conversation. And she was like, why are you watching this? I go, I do think it's interesting, right? Because, there are so many, the amount of mega churches that she called, so these were churches with thousands and thousands of people, with $500,000 sound systems and all this, and they were like, no, we can't help you. No, our pantry is only open on Sundays, so you can come back Sunday. She's like, well, she hasn't eaten since last night. It's Tuesday. And it just, I think there's something to be said for the mission of a church and then all the things that it gets taken away, the attention and where we put our attention and our faith. And yet when it comes to these small acts of helping, I think there's a lot. I think it's interesting. So you can follow her. If it looks like Natalie, but it's not. It's Nicolai, Nikalie Monroe. It's interesting. If you just put on calling churches for baby food, it'll come up. I saw it on TikTok. Jeremy said, we just dropped off 3 full Thanksgiving dinners at our church pantry. There are a lot of people in need right now. I'm noticing that the giving seems to be contagious. I love what I'm seeing. And that's what she said. She said, I'm getting, thousands and thousands of messages. And people are messaging her and say, call this church, call this church. So people will say, call this, send her a picture, she'll call that church. Well, now I guess there's other creators that are kind of doing the same thing. So churches are like, are you real or is this TikTok? Like, it's been really crazy listening to her kind of explain how it's taken off and what people are saying. So it's, yeah. Did it count if they would direct her someplace that would give her help? No, because a lot of them, my pastor would have a fit if we'd turn someone away because of the wrong day of week. That's what I'm saying. As of the 40-second video, 9 churches had said they were help and 33 have said no. Yeah, thanks, Brian. Yeah, when I looked, it was 31-9, but now I guess Brian says 33-9. There's so many that need help right now, but unfortunately, are those that are trying to get what they don't need. Yeah. Donate manual can openers for canned goods that don't have pop tops. It's one thing to do a social experiment, but another to advertise the churches that do and don't help. I think it's interesting, Carol, right? I think in some ways, obviously putting out personal information and what people do or don't do. But I do think that the numbers are upsetting. You're saying that 9 churches helped, 33 didn't. And she's trying to get that. She's not trying to catch them. That's not, you can watch all of them. She records all of them. She doesn't come across as somebody that's trying to hurt the church or catch them in a lie or make it difficult for them to donate. She doesn't do that. She's saying well, is there anybody, what if I go there now? Can somebody help me now? I need food now. And they say no. And that might be the case, especially for smaller churches. It definitely, somebody will say, well, we're a small church, so, there's nobody there now. And you get that. But the mega churches, she called one of the mega churches and they said, hold please. And then sent her to leave a message. And then she called back and then they wouldn't pick up at all. A mega church, like the kind that you look at and you're like, that's a lot of money in that church. And there's not a place at the mega church for somebody that's just like in a dire situation. I don't think that there's any absolutes in the conversation, but I do think that the numbers are not good. And when I say that they're not good, they're not good for perhaps how churches are functioning. But what they're really not good for is if you are a young mother or someone in need, there definitely does not seem to be, most of the time, an easy way for you to get help. So I do think it's an interesting conversation. I feel like she will mess it up for others who are really new because churches may not take the call seriously. They say it's a TikTok thing. I think that there's part of that. But what she's seeing from the churches that are contacting her back, the ones that have said yes, she's actually saying she has seen an influx. And maybe this is, dare I say, a come to Jesus moment for a lot of these churches that might have said no, to really say, maybe we need to really think about this. And maybe there's a way for us to say, do better. I mean, I think it's obviously, it's never been done before. Because unfortunately, it's because some are scammers. Yeah, I agree. It's not our job to decide if someone is actually in need or taking advantage. Our job is to provide for those who say they need it. I agree. My church would send to the Atlanta Community Church. It's a conglomerate of local small churches that do a lot. And I think that she's very fair about how she... so many small churches don't have the money to provide extra supplies. I agree in making it social, but why would she not make the food? Why would she not make the food back at her first stop? What does that mean? What does that mean, Judy? Why would she not make the food back her first? The food bank, her first stop. I got you. I think it's I'm not sure. She did not talk about it, but I think it's a good question. Mega church had closed doors and massive flooding. Mind you, the furniture store opened its doors to anybody needing a safe place. Super glitchy. All right, let me check. It might be because of whatever that weird internet thing was. If you go out and come back in, it might be better. I used to be a youth director in a church. We always had gift cards that you could use at the local grocery, depending on the need. Yeah. I think she wanted to see if the churches would truly help their neighbors in this very trying time. Are they walking the walk or just talking the talk? Yeah. I know, I'm sorry, Mad Acoustic. My electric just went out and I don't know what's connecting and not connecting. Yeah, some mega churches need a revamp of priorities. That's what I mean, Sue. Like, I think it was interesting too that she put a picture of their Google, like, if you're like, oh, let me look up this local church, and then the Google pops up, right, and it has the address, and it has the Google rating. You can Google rate a church, and you can tell by this Google rating. Like, some might say, oh, it's a 4.5 from 1,000 people, but most of the Google ratings were small. And that's how you could kind of get an idea of how big this church was, right? So if it's like, oh, it's 4.2 stars, but from 9 people, you're like, well, this is not a big church. And it was also interesting because it's not like they were saying, oh, 33 churches said no, 9 said yes, and they were all Catholic. Like Tanya said, she saw a couple Catholic churches that didn't give. I saw some that did, and I was like, whew. I was like, girl, right? Everybody's watching their church. What's my church gonna do? And she's calling everybody. I think that she even tried to call like the dark arts, like some kind of satanic church. I don't think she got through though. I think she couldn't find the number. It was like, we don't got a number. And I was like, that's good. But she was calling every faith, every faith. And let me put it to you this way. While some individual churches, 9, were definitely donating, it wasn't like one denomination. It wasn't like all the Methodists gave. Like it wasn't denominational specific. You know, it was just interesting. It's a social experiment. I wouldn't be able to turn anyone away. They were neat. I always tell the kids, you have to give to get. Generosity yields prosperity. But the mosques were 100% yes when I saw it. Really? That's amazing. Let me tell you a story. My mom passed away in 2022. I went to my mom's church, requested a mass in her memory. They wanted to charge me $250 and called a donation. I was furious. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. Is it Charlie? Charlie, I've heard like $25, but $250? No. The place of worship I found in Maryland runs a food pantry. Yeah. Does she call Scientology? I'm not sure, but she'll put it in there. I mean, you can watch every video back to back. I did watch most of them last night. And so it was crazy. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Is she on YouTube? I don't think so. I saw her on TikTok. I looked for her on Instagram, but it was hard to find her on Instagram. But if you look on TikTok, I'm sure you can find her. But you can see articles about it too if you don't want to watch the individual videos. If you just put it in, yeah. Drinking coffee is like smoking. Tastes the same. All right, what about lemon tea with honey? The same? It was a suggested $350 for my mom's Catholic funeral mass. Well, that's different. What Charlie was asking for, it wasn't the mass for like the service. It was like to do a mass in her honor, right, Charlie? It was like if somebody, like my dad died October 3rd, and every year my mom likes to have a mass said. At the beginning of mass they'll say this mass is being said for Michael Kerbin, blah 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 blah. That's what I took it as, Charlie. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, this was not the like mass for somebody. Yeah, because that I would expect to be more money, because they're doing an extra mass. I run Christmas gift closet for my school. I was surprised how many people were worried that students that didn't deserve gifts would get them. All children deserve to know someone cares. Yeah, the Catholic Church has always had its hand out wanting money for everything. They should be willing to help others. Well, Carol, the reality is this wasn't just the Catholic Church. I mean, I guess this was the good news, bad news of it, was that other than, I guess, what Tanya was saying about the mosques, there was no denomination that was like, oh, these people kind of like, there's no always and there's no never. There's a little bit of everything. Yeah, the 5 is like, that's like a $15 donation. That's what we're saying. Yeah, mass cards are $10 where I live. All right, Judy, are you ready? Because I didn't forget. Yesterday morning, we asked Judy to rehearse all day to see if she could perform I'm Just a Bill, I'm Only a Bill. Judy, if you're ready, we could bring you in. Hopefully, if my internet's not bad. But you gotta like request something, or maybe if I touch your name. Let me see. Oh, there's Judy. Report. Put her in timeout. I can put you in timeout. No, maybe you have to ask me. Sound is in and out. Aaron's memorial mass had stipends for the priest and singer, but did give some money to the couple who helped us with the greaseman and invited them in the priest. Yeah, that sounds about right. The actual funeral mass is phrases a donation I use, and the donation of the priest time is 200 and 100 for the priest. Yeah, but that's for the funeral mass. But I think like a mass card is different. Yeah. Too much to bring. All right, we'll try it tomorrow then. Judy, you get an extra day because I don't want it to be messed up because of the internet. Some people are saying it is better if you leave and come back. In terms of sound. Last night on the Daily Show, Jon Stewart showed a clip of I'm Just a Bill. Was it Judy? Went out and came back in, all good. All right, do that. Yeah, all good. All right, Judy, can you request? Let me see if I can request. Left and came back, didn't work. Okay. No, that's not it. You're good over here, just coming in. There's that. These moderators are working. They are working. I don't see anything from Judy. I had to leave and come back in. Now you're working fine. All right. Yeah. I can see you now. The detective several ops are having issues. You're working, Gherkin. I don't know where Judy is. I don't know where she went. And I don't know how to ask her here. What is this? Did you see Judy's? I did, Judy, but let me see if I can invite you now. Pin. No, is there a request button, Judy, that you can request to be part of this? Maybe I have to do it early. I think I have to send you a link. The mods are sniping people left and right. We don't play here. We do not play. Don't come in here with your games. No. It was like the Wild West before. Yeah, what games? Listen, Muhammad, if you don't know the games, you can stay. But we don't play here. What does anchor number 4 think of the social experiment? I think it's interesting. I think it gets people talking about real need and whether or not we're meeting that need and how can we be better. I absolutely think it's, I don't see it as a negative. If talking about, I mean, we're basically saying if she called 40 places, 25% of them were willing to help. If only 25% of our churches and our local communities who we go to and we believe in and we partake in or we support are actually reaching people who need it, I think that's worth a conversation. I think there are conversations about smaller churches that I think can have some considerations. But I also think that if you're a gigantic megachurch and you have more money than God and a young mother can't get formula, I think that's worth talking about and maybe rethinking, like, what are we doing? So I don't have a problem with it. And I watched a lot of her videos yesterday, and I don't get the impression, we've detected a power issue in your area. All right. So this might be why we're having an issue. I think to say that you don't like it because she's not taking the formula, she's not using it. I think she's just being honest and bringing things to the surface that are really happening, and I think it's worth talking about it. I feel like in general that everything is worth talking about. So if you have something that feels like, this feels, because she said, this all came about because I don't know if she said she was on the internet and she was like, I'm going to call some churches and see. It was just kind of random. I mean, all right, Judy, can you request to join this live on your side? Because it won't let me invite you. Well, I think, Michelle, that was the nice thing, is that she just said how many of the churches that said they would help her are now reaching out and getting just tons and tons of donations. And if that's the thing that comes from it, then I think it's a nice thing. And I think it should start conversations like these. So it was nice. Okay. All right. There's a lot. It says, again, the study is stilted. Do these churches help their people? They have limited resources. Do they ignore their hurting congregation to help someone they don't know? Well, that was one of the questions, Katie. A couple of the people said, are you part of our congregation? And she said, no, I'm not part of your congregation. And they said, well, you'd have to be part of our congregation in order for us to help you. That's an interesting concept to me, because I don't think Jesus would do that. I think that helping someone in need, regardless of whether they're in your congregation, might be the reason they become part of your congregation. And if they don't, we don't help people because it's based on whether or not they believe what we believe. Like, that to me feels weird. If I was driving down the street and somebody was in a car accident, would you stop and say, do you believe what I believe? I would help you, but are you Catholic? You would never say that, right? I mean, I definitely think there's nuance to it, but listen, no scientist is going to take this up and be like, let me call a couple church. Like, it's not going to be studied. To me, this is definitely rogue science, rogue social experiment, but it says something. It doesn't say nothing. So yeah, she's not abusing the service if she's not accepting it. She's informing people how to get help. Yeah. They don't use content tithing the way they used to be using it. Yeah. Yeah, she brought up awareness to the public, but also to the churches to maybe revalue their policies. That's what I think. Yeah. Yeah, our church gives to anyone in need. Interesting. In my area, people started free pantries on their porch to help people, and this is because of SNAP benefits. That sounds beautiful. Most people in my church help with food and clothes. Do not go to our church. They do nursing home, angel tree, and donate to the women's centers. Yeah. Sometimes churches cover a geographic radius knowing that the next church picks up where they leave off. And that was an interesting part of it too, Laura, because, she's calling all over the country and they can see, on your phone, it might come up and say like, country of Pennsylvania. And they're like, oh, I can see we actually don't serve that area. She goes, no, I actually live. She knew the towns that they were in. She goes, no, I actually live in this town, in this. She was, trying to make sure that she is in this radius, right? Like this would be their serving area. Thank you, airport atheist. Yeah. My church is in the middle of a resort town. Few members need assistance, but most give from their heart. I will absolutely give the food. I will not cook the food. That is everyone's best interest. You can't compare Jesus to the church. He can multiply loaves and fishes. A church has limited resources. In Ephesians, Paul tells the church to not help others if their own congregation needs. Interesting, Katie. Well, I think, we can agree to disagree, but I feel like, in general, that, we should help. It would not dawn on me if someone was in need to ask them if they believe what I believe and if they're willing to join me on Sundays at my church. And if they were, that I would help them. None of that would dawn on me. But yeah, everybody's got to do what they got to do. But listen, I think if nothing else, it led to this interesting conversation and awareness. And I thank you all for letting me talk about it today. And, maybe look into it and see what, this is such a taboo topic. Well, I think that's why it's what she's doing has caught attention, right? Because, some people's philosophies are how dare people, question the church. I'm like, listen, I'm going to be honest. I think there's a lot of people we should question. Church, politics, there's a lot of questions. And if we don't ask them and we don't have conversation and we don't hear each other, then maybe nothing changes and maybe we don't hear our calling. Maybe this is a call to people to check in with your church and maybe even to just call. Maybe your church wasn't on the call list, right? Like Madeline has a wonderful church that she goes to, and maybe when she goes to church, she'll be like, hey, you guys hear about this TikTok chat thing that's going on? They'll be like, Madeline, how do you know about the TikTok thing? I'm very in right now. And start a conversation in her own church about, hey, like, this is what's happening, and which side of these numbers do we want to be on? Do we want to be on the side of the people that are giving and we have a system set up in our church and that is something that's important to us? Or do we want to be on the side where we're like, hey, we have this amazing choir, but your children will starve? And we're like, yep, it's probably not, we should probably reevaluate. So there's that. So that's it, everybody. What's your little thoughts? That's it. That's all I have to say. What's today? Tuesday. Oh, girl, we're gonna drink tonight. It's Tipsy Tuesday. So I hope you're there. So I hope you have a great day. We have food pantries that are in front of people's houses on the side of the road. The motto is you give what you can and take what you need. People restock more than they take. Oh, that's lovely, Cooley. So yeah, so you know what? As we get into the season of giving, all right, this is good. You seem to be surprised it's Tuesday. Nancy, I'm so, I'm not, I'm not right. I know that. I know that now. And I'm glad that it's Tuesday, and I gotta go figure out what the heck's going on with the power around here, because and Judy, I gotta send you a link tomorrow. I'm sending you a link to join it so you have an extra day to practice. I'm just a Bill. Now listen, here's what I want to say before we go, Judy. When you perform this tomorrow, that song, and you haven't listened to it 50,000 times like I did every Saturday morning as a child. But it's a very guttural, I'm just a Bill. It's like, it's very laid back, okay? I don't want you to be like, I'm just a Bill, okay. There's a style, and I don't want you to ruin it. So it's just like laid back, girl, like that, okay? Call Shakendra, practice with her a couple times. She'll get you some good tips. And then we can blame Shakendra if it's not good. Okay, Shakendra's like, how do I get ripped into this? She can be your backup dancer. Oh, girl, okay. Yeah, you gotta nail it if you're gonna do it, okay? I like giving American morning cartoon songs to Canadians to nail and then get back to us. Yeah, it's like a bill with way too many bourbon. Maybe be drunk tomorrow. I'm just a bill, like that. Yeah, you have to sing it like you've been hanging out with Brenda Mapes, okay? Maybe a little 420. It's just something. Yeah, it's tomorrow. Why? Why wait? Oh, because today's a little off, and I think I have to send her the link. You know, I'm still learning the YouTubes. So I can't invite her, and she has not sent me a link, which means that she probably can't. At least that's what I'm saying to myself. Maybe she can, and she's choosing not to. So I don't know. She needs to dress the part. That might be it. Would she wear like a toga? I don't know what she would wear, Colorado Amber, to dress the part of a bill. I think it was just a naked piece of paper. So, is she allowed to sing this on Facebook? Listen, I don't think it's gonna be good. I don't think YouTube's gonna pick it up and be like, this sounds exactly like the original. No offense, Julie. So a toga would work. Okay, Judy, these are just ideas. And just so you know, this was not me. This was a number of other people who came up with you dressing. So good luck. Can't wait. All right, everybody. So have a great day, blessed day, all the things. And I'll see you tonight for Tipsy Tuesday, and then tomorrow for breakfast with Judy. All right.